till the end, that would be awesome. So my name is Nicole Bostel, the Director of Communications here at STEM School Highlands Ranch. And we've been hosting these parent information sessions every single day. Our last one's going to be tomorrow. That one is going to be about enrichment and athletics. That's also a fun one because there's a lot of cool things that we talk about there. So today's presentation is about getting involved. And I will go ahead and pull up our presentation and share my screen. One moment, please. Oops. Well, I find the right screen in order to share. All right, let's go ahead and share that screen. And I'll be admitting a few people at the same time. Admit. All right, can you guys see my screen? Somebody could unmute and let me know.
I see it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right, let's get started. All right. So as I mentioned, the last 2 days, there is a parent section on our website, and this is where you can find out all of this information. We previously spoke about getting informed and then also getting connected. So today we're talking about that last box there, or the first box on that left-hand side that says getting involved. Okay, so this particular section of our website talks about volunteering at STEM and donations at STEM. We are incredibly grateful for the time and energy donated by our STEM parents every year. Volunteering and giving to STEM, they are so vital to the success of not only our students, but our staff inside the building. There are so many things that we need help with, and so we couldn't do it without the help of our parents coming in and giving their time. So we greatly appreciate anybody who can give their time. We request from our families a minimum of 30 hours for the school year. So if there is a 2-parent household, we split that up and we request 15 per household. And then there's an email address right there. If you have questions about volunteering, you would just email that email. And there's also a volunteer at stemk12.org, and that is run by our volunteer coordinator, Mona Loptine. But in general, if you have any questions about volunteering or donations, you can submit that to that info email address. We try to post opportunities every single week. We have ongoing opportunities, for instance, Driveline and Lunchroom, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on. And then we have more of those kind of one-time volunteer opportunities for maybe volunteering for an upcoming event or making a donation for an upcoming event. So we'll talk about that as we keep going. So this particular page, the volunteers and donations page will list, there's 2 tabs, and I'll walk you through that. They'll list opportunities for you to donate to class wish lists, as well as to particular events like items that we're requesting. In our newsletter each week, we have a dedicated section for volunteers and donations where we kind of bullet out the volunteer opportunity and with the sign up link. Additionally, we'll post the sign up link for any of the donation items that are being requested in the newsletter also. We also post it to that getting involved page on the website. And then we also try and share out any opportunities via our social media channels. You probably all received an email today about a volunteer opportunity coming up. That came through School Messenger, and typically throughout the year, we will not be sending out volunteer and donation opportunities via School Messenger unless it is more of like a last minute kind of request for items. So just know that these are those 3 places where you can find out that information about volunteering and donations. So on our getting involved page, you'll see towards kind of the middle part of the page, these 3 particular tabs. The first one is donation opportunities and then volunteering opportunities. The logging your hours tab will reappear as soon as we have the correct information from Raptor Technologies, which is the new company we're going with, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But on this particular volunteer opportunities tab, you'll see where we have kind of broken out ongoing opportunities, and then it lists those. And then right above that will be kind of those one-time opportunities that you can sign up for. Okay, so just familiarize yourself with this page and check this frequently throughout the school year. Also check the newsletter, because those opportunities will show up. One of the things that I already kind of mentioned was about Driveline. So we do look for volunteers both in the morning and in the afternoon to help us with Driveline. More so on the elementary side, morning and afternoon. And then on the secondary side, we really just look for volunteers in the morning to really help with that crosswalk and getting cars unloaded and processed and out. The afternoon goes fairly quickly. The morning takes a little bit more time. So just keep that in mind. Other ongoing opportunities that we have are in the lunchroom. Those are both in secondary and in elementary. But keep in mind, this is not the opportunity for you to sit and have lunch with your student only. Like, we do have specific kind of responsibilities that we give volunteers when they're in the lunchroom that we do need their help with. So we just want to make sure that we put that out in advance. You also have opportunities to help out inside the classroom. And a lot of times teachers will provide us with a sign up link if they're looking for help inside their classroom, or they might send that to the parents of the students in their classroom directly, because they want kind of that one-on-one from their students' parents inside of their classroom. So just be on the lookout for those throughout the school year. This is our donations opportunities tab. So here you'll find wish list that the teachers and the different departments put together. We've kind of picked Amazon because they make it so very easy. And so each teacher or staff member who has a department will put together kind of their own little wish list and send us a link, and we'll post it here, also on their bio pages. And this is an opportunity, if you can't make it in person to volunteer, you can do a donation via one of these particular items and record when you're logging your hours. For every $20 spent, that equates to 1 hour. And so that information is also available on that volunteers page that kind of breaks that down so that you can help to kind of track it. But our teachers generally try and put just small trinkets on their wish lists, like some things that they might want as like giveaways or prizes. They might want some additional supplies inside their classroom, maybe a beanbag chair or something. So they put that on that wish list. And if you would like to take part in that, you can. And so we'll talk a little bit more about what that means. As I mentioned, for every $20 of a donated item, that translates to 1 volunteer hour. And so in that new Raptor system, as soon as we have it up and running, which should hopefully be in the next few days, we'll send out information about how you can get your account set up and then how you can start logging your hours. So we want to make sure that families know that if you submit, and if you log an hour based off of that $20 donation, that was in lieu of something, and you can't deduct that off of your taxes. Okay, because that essentially that value or that gift was already accounted for. So just keep that in mind. There's some verbiage around that on our webpage. So just know that as you go in. So for any item that you donated, for instance, for your volunteer hours, we will not be providing you with a donation receipt. Now, if you made a donation to the school in general, which would be off of our givings page, which is in that top right-hand corner, that would be different, because you would not be giving it in lieu of something to fulfill some sort of request. And so that you could count towards your taxes, and you would get a gift receipt for that. So there is a slight difference to that. As I mentioned, Raptor Technologies is how we're moving forward with how we're going to be not only background checking for volunteers, but it's also going to be our volunteer management platform this year. We're really excited because it ties in with when visitors come to the building and we badge them in, it all ties in together to the same system. So all volunteers, this is new this year, must be background checked prior to doing any type of in-person or type of hands-on activity, volunteer activity with our students. That does include any type of virtual component. So if you were going to be a guest speaker inside the classroom, you do need to be virtually, you do need to complete that background check also. So during Express Check-in on the STEM Express Check-in Google form, we had parents indicate whether or not they wanted to be what we were calling an in-person volunteer. And for those who indicated yes, just know that as soon as we have the Raptors technologies all set and ready to go, you will receive an email from that platform walking you through how to complete that background check. And then also walking you through how to set up your account in Raptor. If at all throughout the school year you do change your mind, you can also register with Raptor Technology to then request to do a background check. And then we can get you set up with that. It's just easier to do it at the beginning of the school year. So as I mentioned before, you'll set up your account in Raptor, and then you'll be able to sign up for events that we have. So a lot of our signups will transition from Sign Up Genius and to Raptor Technologies, and then that's how you'll be able to easily log your hours. And because if you sign up for the event and you check in for the event, that will automatically count towards your volunteer hour total. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about our PTO. And I don't know right now if we have anybody, if you are part of PTO and would like to talk about this as soon as I get through these slides, just go ahead and unmute yourself, but I don't see anybody at the moment. So PTO is our parent teacher organization. They are awesome. They have a ton of energy, and they really help to build that strong sense of community that we have here at STEM. We are a little bit of a unique school because we are not a neighborhood school. So we do have families that come from all over. If you have come to our placard pickup, we've posted a nice map inside the lobby just to give people an idea of where everybody is coming from, and then to also kind of help our way to promote our Way to Go School Pool program. But that also kind of helps paint the picture of how diverse our community is, where everybody comes from and all the different backgrounds. So our PTO really takes that into account when they're trying to put together events that can really bring people together. So if you want to get involved with PTO, you can email them directly. I would also strongly recommend that you visit that page on our website. It's under the About Us tab. That way you can see the parent leaders who are running that that page. You can kind of see when their meetings are, and then there's quite a few email addresses if you want to get in touch with a very specific person. What do? They work in partnership with us, and they really help us to put on those additional events that really create that sense of community, as I mentioned before. So some of the events that they put on, the movie nights, we have one coming up on August 11th. They also put on our annual Blast Off event, and that's our big community event in the fall, where we bring together the whole community here at our campus to just have a fun night. They also do events such as Skate City, where everyone is invited out to come skate for the night. And then they also put out regular requests for donations or involvement to help with maybe provide food for once a month as like a thank you to the staff. And so they try and do a once a month potluck, or they try and get food together for parent teacher conferences when teachers are going to be here after hours. They help to support with that. So they do once a year a large annual push to raise money, and the money raised from that also goes to help fund what are called teacher grants. So every year our teachers can write a grant and submit that to the PTO for review. If there is any type of over and above request for something super cool that would help that learning environment or that PBL environment inside the classroom. So for instance, in the elementary art room. One year, they put in a grant for this rug, mat, sorry, for the floor, that was a sensory mat that would help students really kind of ground themselves once they got into the classroom, so that they could then, once they had that opportunity to kind of relax and get themselves centered, they could then go into the different art stations. And that was something that they had identified that they really needed. So they meet every second Wednesday of the month. They meet the second Wednesday of every month. You can check the All STEM events calendar on our website for the location and meeting access. Sometimes their meetings are in person, and sometimes they are via Zoom. So I would check that calendar. You can also email them directly if you want to get on their meeting notification list. Is there anyone from PTO on that would like to say anything additional? Okay, I'm going to move on. The next, we have our School Accountability Committee. The state law requires that every school have a SAC committee. Normally in a district-run school, a SAC committee almost serves as like the board for the school that kind of feeds up to the school board for the district. With us being a charter school, we do have a school board, and we also have a SAC committee. And we have a very large SAC committee, which we're super excited about. They've really done a great job of having great representation from all across various different levels: elementary teachers, secondary teachers, an administrative community rep, and parents that want to get involved. You can see there the purpose of SAC is to be an advisory committee to inform and encourage participation from parents in the school community. They help every single year to develop our unified improvement plan. So they really look at our test data and other really important data that we collect throughout the school year to determine what are some of the gaps that need to be addressed. And then they put that into our unified improvement plan each year. That is a requirement that we have to have. They also take into account feedback from our community as to, what are some areas where we could potentially put some priorities as far as budget? What do they see on campus that might need an improvement? And so SAC takes in all of that particular feedback that they receive, and then they put forth recommendations to the board of directors throughout the school year, so that we can develop different avenues to improve our school and campus. And then they also collect concerns related to school performance or safety issues. So if you have any interest in getting involved there, they meet typically the third Wednesday of each month during the school year. And sometimes they bring in special guest speakers to talk about certain topics that are not only important to our school, but that are important across the district. And those are some of those subcommittees that they have. And then if you want to take part or get informed about any one of those meetings, you can just email sac@stemk12.org. And then they can provide you with direct instructions as to how to get involved or where they might need some additional support. Okay, I know I have Ishmi, one of our SAC members, with us today. So feel free, or if there's another SAC member also that would like to unmute and talk a little bit about SAC, that would be great.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ishmi Kaura, and I have been on SAC since 2017, off and on. And I went back to SAC because I am a very data-oriented person. And if you love data and want to know what makes a great school great, then please join us. We do a lot of, we're probably usually the first committee to hear about a lot of new things that are happening, new initiatives that the administration team is working on, and they ask for our feedback. So it's a really great way to learn what new initiatives are coming down the pipeline, and get involved and have your voice heard.
Thank you. All right, Ish is going to stay on, and when I get to the end of the presentation, she'll also be available for questions if you have them. So now I'm going to just briefly talk about our Coast STEM Board of Directors. This is another opportunity for our parents to get involved in the running of our school. And so we do have, like, as I mentioned, a self-governed, we are a self-governed charter school that is authorized by DCSD. So we have our own board of directors and we have our own policies. However, if we don't have a policy on file or that is written, we follow what the Douglas County School District's policy is in that particular area. For questions about the board of directors, you can email communications. You can also email the board members directly. I believe it's stem.board@stemk12.org. And then you can find out more information about the board of directors and who our current members are. Under the About Us tab, you click on Board of Directors. So we are a 9-member board. And it is made up of parents and community members, and it is all volunteer based. So nobody gets paid to do that. And we are very fortunate to have these 9 volunteers that give their time. They've been very busy over the last 2 years, really digging in and making sure that all of our policy docs are updated. And that we're following all of the requirements from the state as far as how a board is to operate. Additionally, they've been really involved in the onboarding and hiring of our new CIO for Cozon Schools. And also they were involved during the process of kind of that transition from over the last 2 years as Dr. Euchre retired. So meetings are the first Tuesday of every month in the Mechatronics Lab of the P-TECH Cozon Schools building. That's up here off of Barron's Boulevard. They start at 5:30. Anyone in the community is welcome to attend. The agenda gets posted 24 hours in advance, so you can take a look at what that agenda is if there's anything that you're interested in learning. The board is looking at the possibility of providing a Zoom link for the community to listen in to the meeting, but that has not been finalized yet, so stay tuned. If anyone wants to sign up for public comment, they can do so via the link that is on the board page on our website. It's also available in the Google Calendar event that is on our website on the All School Calendar. Public comment must be done in person, and there's a specific deadline of, I believe it's noon the day of the meeting, that you need to submit your request for public comment and then kind of what your topic is. So there's a form to fill out. So if you want to become a member of our board, we do new member elections, kind of that April-May timeframe. We do a call out prior to that in the newsletter for any parents who would like to get involved in the board and maybe put their name in the ring to be a part of that election cycle. We do also offer an opportunity prior to the elections for parents who are interested in speaking to our current board members to find out a little bit more about what it's like and what your commitment is to be a part of the STEM Board of Directors. And then we share all of that information through that weekly parent newsletter that goes out every Friday. And then we also have, it got started late at the end of last school year, and then we're really going to pick up on this and get it going this school year. Our STEM Athletics Booster Club. It's still in development, but we're really excited that this year we have our new athletics director, Mrs. Susan Jones. She was our PE teacher last year, and she's taking over the role of athletics director. She's also going to be in the building as a PE teacher also, but will be taking on a big portion of being the athletics director. And so she will be kind of our staff lead with the Booster Club president, and they'll be working very closely to get this up and off the ground. So be on the lookout for that information in the coming months inside the parent newsletter. If you want to get involved in the Athletics Booster Club, if you have a kiddo that plays athletics here, this is a great opportunity for you to get involved and to help us grow that program. So just be on the lookout for that. And that is the end of my presentation. And so I wanted to now open up the floor for any questions for either me or Ish, or if there was a member of PTO that wanted to answer any questions. I know we have a board member that's in attendance, but I don't want to put them on the spot. That could potentially answer some questions. So feel free to unmute yourself and ask any questions. Any questions at all? And we can open up the floor too for any questions that are not related to getting involved, but any questions about volunteering, about making a donation?
Nicole, I have a quick question.
Yes.
If we did not do the thing on the check-in to request the background check, how can we do that? Admittedly, I just didn't want to go get my driver's license. How do we do that after the fact?
We'll send another, we're going to kind of do it in batches. So we'll get the first set of folks who said yes via the Express check-in Google form. We'll get them into the system first and get them set up. And then we'll do another kind of message out to the community to say, hey, if you changed your mind, here's your opportunity, and then here's your link, you can sign up. With us starting this new Raptor platform, they wanted us to start with an initial list that we would upload into the system. That way we could get out and they could do batch background check reporting.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And we understand that, kind of at the beginning of the school year, you might not be sitting there going like, I have zero bandwidth to volunteer, so I'm not even going to fill this out. But once we get into like September, October, you might be in that giving mood and be like, no, I do want to get inside the classroom. So there will be plenty of opportunities throughout the school year for you to be able to complete that background check form. We just suggest get it done early. That way there's not an event that you want to take part in, but you can't because you didn't do that one step. I guess one thing that I just came to mind that I didn't include in the presentation, but that we did add last year, we did offer the opportunity, and we'll do it again this year, for parents who didn't want to buy anything off of the Amazon wish lists, or that couldn't make it into volunteer in person. We did offer the opportunity through My School Bucks to select to make a donation to our volunteer donations fund, and the money that is used that is collected in that fund goes to purchase food items. So for instance, let's say we put out a Sign Up Genius for an event that we got up to the day of the event and we don't have any donations, or we don't have enough, then our business office would go out and purchase whatever is remaining, and we would take the funds that were donated to that account in order to cover the cost of whatever that event needed as far as like food or donations. And the events are put on by clubs through our enrichment programming. So TSA is often looking for snacks for after school clubs, or theater might be putting on a performance, but they want to have some snacks for their kiddos after school, or for a cast party, or for an end of the year banquet. So there's a whole host of events that they're always looking for donations for. And sometimes the Sign Up Genius either doesn't get out fast enough, or parents just don't see it. So they'd prefer to just donate to one fund that we can then use those funds for to cover the cost of those, what would have been a donated item.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi.
Yes, so in the past years, have there been volunteering opportunities in the athletics department?
Could you say that one more time? There's a little bit of feedback.
In the past years, in previous years, have there been volunteering opportunities in the athletics department?
Yes. Last year, we had the opportunity for parents to sign up to run the scoreboard and to run the shot clock, and to also help with substitutions, I believe. So I know basketball had that opportunity. We had a sign up for that. How signups are created is the person who's hosting the event or putting the event together. So for instance, in this case, in athletics, it would be the coach. The coach would then request and say, hey, for the season, I need these volunteers. And could you put a sign up together for that? And we would do that and then send that out. If the coach hasn't put that together, then we don't put a request together for them. They have to express a need for volunteers. And then we put that out. So it's not just like a blanket, we need volunteers just for athletics. They are specifically tied to whatever the coach or teacher or club leader might need.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions?
So this is quite unrelated to today's discussion, but if I'm picking up the placard from the school today, what do I need to bring?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just
Okay.
come on in. We'll open at 1 o'clock. So as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to race on over there. We'll get everything set up. So we're open from 1 to 5 today.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Hi, Nicole. I just wanted to confirm that have we completed if you selected that you were interested in volunteering, did it already forward you to fill out this background check information, or will that be sent later?
It'll be sent later. Right now, we just collected all the names, and on August 6th, when the express check-in closes, we're going to grab that whole list of all the families who completed the Google form. And we're then going to send that we're going to upload that into the Raptor system. And then the notifications are going to start to go out from Raptor to say, please complete this background check.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss a step. Thank you.
Nope, you're all good. What else? Any other questions? Any questions about the School Accountability Committee? Any questions about PTO? Any questions that you have that don't pertain to this? Now's your opportunity. I'm here. Anyone nervous about Driveline? Yes, Havana? No? Okay. Anybody have any questions about what to expect for the first day of school? Anything like that?
I just missed that question that someone had. What's happening today from 1 till 5?
It is the placard pickup for secondary and elementary students.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Nicole, could you just share where that is through the athletic entrance? I heard, but I'm not sure I know where that is.
So no, I sent an update out not yesterday, but the night before, that it's actually going to be in the secondary lobby. We had a technology issue with a printer, and so we had to move to another location to use a different printer. So now we're in the secondary lobby.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, there's one here in the chat box. Is there a chance for returning students to meet their teacher before the first day of school and also drop off school supplies? We don't have kind of like a formal event set up for that. The only thing that we have coming up for 1st through 12th grade would be Spartan Launch. And for elementary, that is another opportunity for you to drop off those school supplies. You can also drop them off tomorrow from 1 to 2:15. We have a staff group photo at 2:30, so they won't be in the front offices, but up until 2:15 tomorrow, you can also drop off the school supplies. Just make sure that they're labeled because they'll go to the front desk. But we don't have anything formalized for students to meet their teacher for the new school year, aside from Spartan Launch for the new students. All right, any other questions?
Did you say it was Spartan Lunch?
Spartan Launch, yep. LAUNC.
Yeah, and CH, yeah. So, so that is, when is that?
What grade is your student in?
Seventh. She's in seventh. So does she has a specific school supply she needs to bring in?
No, so secondary does not have a specific school supply list. Teachers
Uh-huh.
will put in their syllabus during the first week of school, if there are any supplies that a student needs to have, they'll put it in their syllabus. But because they'll have anywhere from, 7 to 8 teachers or so, depending on the schedule, there's no standardized supply list for secondary. And the Spartan Launch is for new to STEM students only. So that's their first opportunity to get inside the building and tour and know where everything is, because they might not have been part of the tour when their parents were here, when they came the first time.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, well, if there's no other questions, I will go ahead and give you back some time of your day. And I will post this recording by the end of today and get it up on the Back to School hub page that's on our website. So if there are no other questions, and I don't see any, I will let you guys go. Thank you so much for joining today. And hopefully I'll see you all, I will see you all tomorrow for our last presentation. So bye.